Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to take a look at the week ahead and of course today's daily bias. Let's jump on over to the charts. It's Jimmy Shades here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I know I certainly did. Let me know in the comments what you got up to this weekend and what you have planned for the rest of the week. On the calendar here, we have a very light week when it comes to news. Nothing Monday, nothing Tuesday, nothing Wednesday, unless you look at commodities. Commodities, we have oil inventories at 10:30 US. So keep that in the back of your mind. And then we finally have high impact news come Thursday. Nothing on Friday. Alrighty. Let's get into the daily chart here. And let's remove any drawings there. Okay. So what we got? So price closed back inside the range on Friday. However, I'm looking at this first and foremost. I'm looking to see previous day high swept. That is the low hanging fruit. Price is currently expanding higher, and we can see if we move to the lower time frame, we can see that price is being supported out of this bullish pity right here, this bullish FVG, and as we continue to move higher, we continue to close above these opposing candles. We've done that here, here, and here. So we are finding some support and continuing to trend up. What we are doing though is we are leaving behind this engineered liquidity, which, you know, if we come up, sweep out this high up here, we could look to see price move lower. And that's what I'll be anticipating today. Keeping in mind that, you know, it is quite a strong trend at the moment. We are seeing this bullish momentum. So be careful if you're considering taking shorts at all. So that's us on the daily for NQ. On the weekly, we can see that we're continuing this trend. We've got an imbalance here. And like I say, I'd anticipate the previous week high to be swept out. That'll send us to all-time highs once again. And then let's watch to see what happens from there. Do we come back into this range, try and find support on the previous week's candle body range before we continue to move higher? Do we retrace deeply into this gap down here? We'll be keeping an eye on that if there is that retracement. Alrighty. Gonna be a similar story for ES. That was MES, by the way, but doesn't really matter. ES, very close to sweeping out previous week high. That'll be our target if it isn't already swept before New York AM session. That's what we'll be looking for. And we'll look for price to potentially retrace back into the range. So look for a reversal signal. On the daily, there's the previous week high was on Friday. And we can see we've continued to close above these opposing candles here. And once we sweep this high, I'd be looking for price to maybe sweep back into this bullish gap before we continue to move higher again, if we find support there and that gap doesn't fail. Let's move over to oil. Very choppy at the moment, isn't it? Quite sideways. Let's clear that chart. So we are in a bit of a range here at the moment. I can see that we've closed back inside the range of the previous day, but we've swept out previous day low here already. Yeah, I'll be very patient with oil right now. Ideally, I'd like to see one side of the range swept out to look for longs, for example, from the lows, or from the highs to look for shorts before really attempting too much, unless you want to use a 4-hour time frame or something else. But you can see that range. It's, yeah, personally, I wouldn't, I'm not interested in trading oil at the moment. I really want to see that range swept out. 4 hour looks like we're coming out and finding support in these gaps. You can see that little gap there was supported or used as resistance, and we can see that again here. Hopping over to gold now. We did find support in this gap. Price was able to close back in the range there on Thursday last week. And we swept out the high. Pretty indecisive day for Friday. And today we are getting some expansion higher. So looking at the weekly, we did get support from this imbalance. However, if we look at the range here of these opposing candles, you can see price, we closed back inside the range off the equilibrium of these opposing candles. So let's keep an eye on that. I'd like to see previous week high swept out, and then there might be a move lower off of that. And I certainly think targeting this little low resistance liquidity here would be a good play for today. We move down to the hourly. See, nice bullish structure. We've got a change in state of delivery here, and we're continuing to respect these bullish PD arrays as we move higher and once again up here. So the structure is quite nice here at the moment, looking for that high to be swept out. And certainly this candle here, whenever we have these large wicks, that is definitely something I'm interested in, looking for price to sweep out. So targeting the highs for gold. Moving down to the daily here on Dixie. So Thursday, we closed back inside the range. Friday wasn't really a continuation candle. Again, that candle closed back inside the range of Friday, of the Thursday candle. I'll be looking for a previous day low here as the low hanging fruit. As we tried to push higher, we haven't been able to, and we're starting to move lower here. What was a 4 hour got for us? Equal highs. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing that Friday low swept. And then maybe we target those equal highs, these ones here, and fill this gap. This gap's still yet to be filled. We might even sweep out this low here before we do that as well. So keep an eye on that. Remember, in euro is inversely correlated. So we're finally getting some bounce, albeit a little bit weak off of this gap, but it is there. We have found some support. What I'd be interested in is this devil's mark. Will we see price sweep that out? Find support once again at this level before continuing to move higher, which would sort of play out in, that inverse approach to Dixie, where we're looking for the possible highs to be swept out here. $6B, little bit cleaner. I do like the sweep out here of the low. We did get a reaction out of this bearish FEG, and also another reaction here. I'd like to see previous day high swept, as we've already swept out previous day low. So they'll be looking to run bullish for now. We do have this bearish FEG here. If price does want to get some legs on, we might see price come up into this level. Let's have a look at some crypto now. Having a look at Bitcoin here on the day. We haven't had that retracement back into this gap. I'd still like to see that. Bitcoin dominance is falling slightly, so that means there's likely money pushing into alts or starting to flow into alts. I'd still have these target areas here, or this target area, and I do like this little failure swing here for price to want to reach for. I think the sentiment's quite good with Bitcoin and crypto overall right now, so hopefully we'll see prices continue to move higher. Ethereum has just nailed every one of our targets over the weekend, hit our -4 standard deviation, took out this high here. That was our next target, and then we're looking for this high up here as the next one beyond that. So previous day highs still intact. That's what I'll be targeting today. Rightio guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you all being here. Don't forget to grab your Tradeify accounts with code Jimmy Trades, your Apex accounts with code Jimmy. Still 80% off with Apex, 35% off at Tradeify. And also go and check out Tradezella, guys. 20% off with code Jimmy Trades over there. All right, guys, take care. Have a good Monday, and we'll see you over in Trade Foundry. Bye for now.